Hello to all the learners joining us today for a safeguarding tutorial from the Light Bulb. Today we are looking at the Disrespect Nobody campaign. Before we move on, just to explain that that's a play on words. So to disrespect nobody means to not disrespect another person, of course, but also the campaign concentrates on not disrespecting another person's body. So we'll move on to explain more about the subject. The Disrespect Nobody campaign was created by the Home Office, and it aims to help young people understand what a healthy relationship looks like, to rethink their views of controlling behaviour, violence, abuse and sexual abuse, and to understand what consent means within their relationships. Our learning objectives and outcomes today follow these criteria, and so we will understand healthy and unhealthy relationships. We will understand when behaviour is abusive or controlling or harassing. We will look at understanding consent and what that means. And we will understand the risks associated with sharing sexual images. So the first thing we'll do together today is to watch a short clip directly from the Disrespect Nobody campaign itself.
If you're checking your girlfriend's phone, telling her who she can and can't speak to, that's not okay.
If your boyfriend's telling you how to dress,
that's not right. If someone asks you for a nude pic or keeps wanting you to share one, you shouldn't have to deal with that.
When it comes to sex, only an idiot would put pressure on someone.
If you turn to violence when your girlfriend disagrees with you...
Whoa, that's not the way to handle it.
There's a person attached to everybody. Respect both.
To see more, search Disrespect Nobody.
Thank you for watching that. So let's start with a question. So what is the difference between abusive behaviour versus having a normal, healthy argument? Normal being in inverted commas. So if we take a few moments to just think about this. So I would suggest that a normal, healthy disagreement can happen between people who feel safe to express their views and opinions, but they must also have a respect for the views and opinions of others. So a healthy disagreement would normally be more of a negotiation, coming to some kind of conclusion that suits both parties, not the scenario where someone emerges as a clear winner or a loser. If we look more at the subject of abuse, relationship abuse happens when one person hurts or bullies another person. The abuser is always the one responsible. No one else is to blame. Abuse can happen between people of any age, nationality, race or family background, and it can happen between young people in different types of relationships. So it might be a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship or a parent and child. And it can happen whether the family lives together or separately. Abuse can also happen after a relationship has finished. So there may be a relationship that's now broken up, but one person can start to become abusive. People can use physical, emotional, sexual, and financial abuse to try and control other people. Some key facts that we have about abusive relationships. Whilst women are normally the target of abuse in a heterosexual relationship, this isn't always the case. Men can also be a target of abuse, and men often find it much harder to ask for help. Abuse can happen in same-sex relationships or in any relationship. Each has its own unique characteristics. Abuse within a relationship is often a repeated pattern of behaviour, which means if it's happened once, it is likely that it will happen again. Abuse often involves several different types of abusive behaviour, and these can be physical, emotional, sexual, or financial. People who use controlling behaviours are more likely to go on in the future to be violent. Let's look now at consent and what that means. So consent is defined in law as an agreement made by someone with the freedom and ability to decide something. To give your consent, you should be sure that it is your decision to make and that nobody has pressured you into it. British law says that both people need to give their consent before sex or any physical closeness. The law also says that to consent to sex, a person must be 16 or over, and they must have the ability to make this informed decision for themselves. So they must be mature enough and mentally able to make this decision, having not been impaired by the taking of drugs or alcohol. To understand consent a little more, let's have a look at some scenarios. This first one. When it comes to sex, does no sometimes mean yes? Well, no. No means no. If two people want to have sex with each other, then it should be something that they have both agreed and consented to. You can show this through your words or through your body language. But actually saying no means that sex should not go ahead as consent has not been given. We'll look a little more at body language in just a few moments. Scenario 2. If two people have had sex before, is it okay to have sex again? So not necessarily. If you've been with a partner before and had sex, then each time you subsequently get together, consent should be given again, each time. Here we've got a situation where if you end up going back to someone's house, are you effectively saying that you want to go on and have sex with that person? Again, no. Going with someone is not necessarily giving consent that you want to have sex with them. Consent must be sought and given, not just assumed. This misplaced assumption is not an excuse, ethically, morally, or in the eyes of the law. So some key things for you to remember. Communication. Communication between both partners is so important. Check with your partner. Ask them if they're enjoying what you're doing, what's happening between the two of you, and whether they want it to continue. Body language. If your partner is relaxed, they're likely to feel comfortable and happy with what's happening. Whereas if they start to become tense, this could be a sign that they're becoming frightened or nervous of what's happening and that they're trying to hide how they are really feeling. Please do look out for these signs of someone not consenting to have sex. Sometimes people might find it hard to actually say what they want or don't want. So maybe signs to look out for is if you stop kissing, or if the person doesn't want to be hugged or held, this could be a sign of non-consent, and please do not ignore it. If one person doesn't want to have sex, then the other person just needs to accept that. It's not okay to try and change their minds, as pressuring someone into having sex is rape. This also applies to pressuring someone to have sex without using contraception. There are consequences. Every action has a consequence, which is an effect on someone or something. Consequences can be positive or negative, and they can lead to lasting impact on people's lives. Sex or physical closeness without consent can have extremely damaging consequences for both people involved. There can be physical consequences, sexually transmitted infections for both people and any future partners. There could be physical injuries, internal injuries, mental health problems, including depression and unwanted pregnancies. Emotional consequences could include low self-esteem and sense of worth, humiliation, fear, hurt and embarrassment, and then longer-term emotional problems such as trusting future partners and forming new relationships. There are also legal consequences. There are possible custodial sentences if found guilty of rape. Sexual assault could lead to a community order, a fine, or a prison sentence. Having sex without consent, which is sexual assault, could lead to the perpetrator being added to the sex offenders register. Having a criminal record or being added to the sex offenders register will have a major impact on future life events and choices such as getting work. So we're moving on now to talk about sharing sexual images. Again, we have a short clip here to watch from the Disrespect Nobody campaign.
Ugh, another pic request.
Why doesn't he stop?
I know, he just keeps going on and on and on.
Maybe we should just send him one?
No way. Don't trust him.
He did say he loves us.
Doesn't sound it. He could share that with anyone. Remember, what's her name? That pic broke the internet.
And it keeps being sent around.
Poor girl.
He's getting well desperate. I can't believe he's still asking. What a tit.
Pressuring someone to send nudes isn't just desperate, it's wrong too.
Disrespect nobody.
Thank you for watching that clip. So there are implications involved for the person sending nude pictures. There are legal consequences. Sending or sharing explicit images could be breaking the law. If you are under 18 and you send, upload or forward indecent images or videos to your friends or your partner, this would be breaking the law, even if they are photographs of yourself. Another person could share the photograph with other people, or they could post it online, which then means that anybody can see it, potentially your family, your friends, your teachers, and then also even your future employers. In extreme cases, it could be used to blackmail the sender into sending more photographs or videos. If the relationship then ends, these images could be shared to humiliate the former partner, which is called revenge porn. It could then lead on to a range of other consequences, including bullying or unwanted attention from others. For the person asking for the nude photographs, if someone pressurizes another person to send them sexually explicit or nude pictures, this is abusive and it's not normal or acceptable behavior. If someone has an indecent image or a video of someone who is under the age of 18, they are technically in possession of an indecent image of a child. So even if you're the same age as a person in the photograph, this is still an offence under the Protection of Children Act 1978 and the Criminal Justice Act of 1988. Pressurising someone for nude photographs can make them feel very uncomfortable or manipulated and can lead to them losing confidence in relationships or experiencing other relationship difficulties in the future. So just a little bit of advice. If you receive a nude and you didn't ask for it, then delete it immediately. It is illegal to possess nude pictures of someone under 18. If the person who sent the nude picture is over 18 and you're not, they could face legal action. So we're looking next at the subject of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is when someone behaves towards another person in a sexual way, without that person wanting it or having given their permission. This includes the use of words, such as unwanted sexual comments or remarks about someone's body, or it could be physical behaviour like unwanted touching, groping, or deliberately brushing into someone. It can also happen online, on social media, and the use of mobile phones. It can make a person feel very uncomfortable, embarrassed or ashamed, and even intimidated. Sexual harassment most commonly happens to women, but it can happen to anyone of any age, gender, or sexual orientation. Unwanted sexual comments or sexual behaviours towards someone without their permission is wrong and can be illegal. If you have any concerns for yourself, for a friend or a family member, then please do ask for help. The two websites shown below are a very helpful source of information And they also give you links of other outside agencies that would be able to help you. So that concludes our training for today. Thank you for joining me for the safeguarding training from the light bulb. And I hope you have found the training session to be informative.